Hi, I'm Andrew, and we're going to talk to you about helping your group start to serve. I remember a time when our group served at Habitat for Humanity, and even though we were just hammering boards together and putting some paint up, it really helped us to get to know one another and engage differently. And when we met that next week in a group, you could tell there was something different happening. People were laughing more, people were kind of asking different kinds of questions, and it really just changed our dynamic. So Peter, maybe you can help us today. How do you get your group to engage in serving, and what does that look like?
Sure. One of the first questions that I get about serving, and it may or may not happen at each church differently, but I think some people have the expectation that their group should serve together weekly. And a lot of these people at the church, they're already serving in a significant way. Now, some of your small groups, you might actually have met because you served. I know that the group that my wife was a part of and started, and that we're currently a part of, they started as youth group leaders. But what I think is really important is to start by thinking people are really busy. Their time is extremely valuable. And to just thank your group members that are already serving in a significant way at the church. But secondly, when we talk about serving as a group, I think a clear, simple expectation is, what is one way during the year that we can serve together as a group? And so when you think of the ways people are already serving, instead of trying to recreate the wheel, there might be a youth group outing that someone's serving in that you can come and hand out the hot dogs. There might be someone that serves, in a downtown rescue mission, but knowing where other people serve is where it can be helpful to have some momentum. Because I think the hardest thing about engaging service is actually just the planning and getting the date right. And a couple other things to think about with serving is not just how can you serve the church well, but how can you serve your neighbors well? One of my favorite ways that I had an opportunity to serve was my friend Barry would host a Halloween neighborhood party. And so my small group and I, we would attend that. We were, making hot dogs and hot chocolate, handing out candy, and just being there for kids. And kind of what you said to Habitat for Humanity. One of the ways I like to start the conversation of serving is just by asking people what they're passionate about. And some people, they don't have the time or the opportunity, but with the encouragement of the group, if someone says, hey, I'd really like to do something with Habitat for Humanity, I think you as a group leader have to hand over saying, I don't have to be the idea person. And what's neat about that is you allow your group to delegate. So we'll use Habitat Humanity as an example. If you go serve a house, you can have one person draft up the schedule, another person make sure that the materials are there. And not only are you creating an experience, but you're actually doing leadership development. Last thing I'll say why serving is so important is very much what you said about your experience. There are some people that just are perfectly fine not talking in a small group. And they are just not talkers, they're not debaters or thinkers, but they want to do stuff. And when you do stuff, that's when the real conversations begin to happen. Andrew, I've given some thoughts on serving in your small group. What are some additional thoughts that you have for some of our leaders out here?
So it can be tempting to not think serving is a big deal, but I would say God didn't just call us to sit around and talk to each other, even though that's an important part. But he called us to go do something with our lives and with the energy and skills he gave us. So serving allows people in your group to put hands and feet to Jesus' words and thoughts. And I think it's actually not only good for the people we're serving, but also good for us as we learn to serve like Jesus served us.